Welcome to Dentosaurus. So in this video, we are going to learn carving of maxillary central incisor. So let's learn about the basics first. The crown is rough trapezoid in shape. So this is the basic criteria and the root is conical with 1:1 ratio for crown and root. And mesial half is slight curve and distal is straight. Okay, so here you can see that at the apex the root tapers. Then moving on to the lingual aspect. So lingual aspect, as we all know, has cingulum, a lingual fossa, and there are marginal ridges, mesial and distal, that are quite prominent. Then we'll move to the other aspects, that is the occlusal one. Okay, so it is not circular but a rough circular shaped, and it has point for the cingulum and more convexity on the labial side. While dealing with the mesial aspect, you can see the tip of the crown is in the midline and the crown appears to be rough triangular in shape, similar with the distal aspect. But the cervical line distally is flat, not completely flat but flat, and mesially it's more curved, like 3.5 mm. So here in the wax block, I have marked everything: crown length, root length, then marking the midline and marking all the aspects. Okay, so I have marked the buccal aspect here because from buccal and lingual side we can see a rough trapezoid shape, distal aspect, lingual aspect and mesial aspect. This is how you have to mark everything along with the midline. The midline must be marked from all the sides for better accuracy of the carving. And it's okay if you don't mark it, you can still work. I have just made a rough trapezoid shape of the crown on the block, and now I'll show you how you can create this trapezoid shape. So first of all, mark what is the length of the crown at the mesiodistal length at the cervix. Okay, after marking it, just draw a rough trapezoid from the length, and the excess wax that you see on the mesial and distal side, the excess wax, you are going to carve it out. So by removing the excess wax, you will see the shape emerging of the crown. Okay, so this is my carver. It has two sides, one is a blunt side and other is the working side, the sharp one. So I'm using the blunt side. I have kept it close to the CEJ, and I'm trying to remove the wax from the CEJ. To give a tapering shape, I'm trying to put more pressure and trying to remove wax. So this is the stroke you give to create a trapezoid look. Okay, now it looks more enhanced, more sharp trapezoid. So this is the first step of the carving of the crown. You have to remove the wax from mesial and distal side. After you have done that, see that mesial aspect shows a triangular shape, and same with the distal aspect. So you have to give a rough triangular shape from mesial aspect. Draw a triangle and you will see the excess wax that is left. Okay, so now I can see that the excess wax left is on the buccal and palatal side, and I am going to cut that excess wax. It is very easy if you follow the steps. Okay, so keep your carver parallel to that one line of the triangle and just give light strokes and try to remove the excess wax. Okay, this is the technique how you keep your carver on the wax block to create that shape. Don't do this thing like directly trying to cut out all the wax. That can break your wax block and the crown. So check what is the quality of your wax. If it is soft, then you can apply more. So now I have completely removed the excess wax according to my marking, and the excess wax from another side is still remaining. So I will repeat the same process, the same technique of removing it from this side now. Now I have achieved the rough trapezoid shape from the buccal side and rough triangle shape from mesial side. So now we can go on with the carving of the lingual aspect. The lingual aspect has a cingulum, a lingual fossa with some prominent marginal ridges, not that prominent. So keep the curved side of the carver towards the wax block and just go on with some strokes. Give a gentle push, and you will see a depression is formed. I'm keeping my carver in the middle third of the crown because the cervical third is left for the cingulum prominence. These are the basic strokes, okay, that will help you in the basic outline of the crown. Still, there is so much excess wax left on the crown, and on occlusal wave you can see a square shaped. So to turn it into a circular, rough circular, I am reducing it from the corners. I am touching only the corners here so that I can reduce it. So before going any further, I am trying to reduce the size of this crown by removing the excess wax here. Still there is so much of the wax left on the crown. And don't make your labial side totally flat because it has a slight convex shape, so try maintaining it. Use this upward strokes at the sides of the teeth or the corners of the teeth to give it a rough circular appearance and reduce the wax. The mesial half has slight curvature, so to make that curvature on the carving, you have to just give this slight strokes transversely and you will create a curved look for the mesial side. Okay, so now I feel that I have carved crown enough, so I will now move on to the root section, just checking at the distal aspect that the incisal tip is in the midline, okay, and similarly from the mesial aspect. Just trying to make a slight convex shape at the labial aspect, and then we will move on into the carving of the root, because remaining carving of the crown will be done in finishing and polishing. To give that characteristic feature, specific feature for the crown, we will continue that thing in the later part. Just give a slight stroke to make it a convex looking shape. Okay, so When you divide the root in 3 parts, the apical third of the root is more tapering and the root has a rough conical shape. I have drawn here the shape of the root and it is similar shape from all the aspects. So I am drawing a inverted triangle from the midline from all the aspects. And then the only part remaining will be to remove the wax from all the sides. The excess wax is clearly seen here, which can be removed with a scraping technique like this, like you just scrape out the excess part, or it can be done with another technique, that is like you just cut the chunks out of the wax. Here I am using a scraping technique to make the conical shape more prominent. I am applying more pressure on the inward side. And this is the another technique that I was talking about, like you just remove the chunks of wax out. If your wax is soft enough to do this, you can do this one. But you must remain cautious that you don't break the carving. From the occlusal aspect, you can see the wax, all the wax that needs to be removed out. Because the criteria for the root is that the root must not be seen from the occlusal aspect, only the crown is seen. So whatever wax you can see excess must be cut out. Okay, so go on carving until the root is in a desired form. This is my technique. I do it when there is chunks of wax to be cut out. This gives root a proper dimension. Here comes the final finishing part of the crown, that is making prominent cingulum, making a lingual fossa. The lingual fossa is in the middle and the incisal third, and the cervical third is left for the cingulum. Don't touch the mesial and distal aspect, just carve it in the middle portion. And a final check to the dimensions of the crown at the cervix, at the incisal third, and then going on carving it for the root. Hold your teeth in an inverted position so that you don't break it while carving. So as the root is tapering and pointed at the apical third, I'm trying to create that look. Carve more wax from the apex, so it will give you that look. So after carving it and checking all the dimensions, the root and the crown look something like this, and Now is the time to give it its characteristic feature of that pointed conical root. So try to remove excess wax from the apex like this, but gently. Don't give it excess pressure. Okay, this is finally how the teeth is looking, but still there are some features left to be carved out on the teeth, and that will be done now in the final finishing segment. So now at the cervix we are going to carve out the CEJ, cemento enamel junction. For that I am giving a C-shaped strokes on the teeth transversely. You can very well see it here in the video. The crown must not look like a box shape. It must look like a rough trapezoid and a slight curvature from the cervix. That's why I am giving here a C-shaped curve at the corner of the teeth. Carving the CEJ on the distal aspect, which is 2.5 mm according to Wheeler's, and on the mesial aspect it is 3.5 mm with more depth. Here I am making the cingulum more prominent by making here the CEJ. Similarly, the C-shaped strokes. And always remember that the root portion is thin at the CEJ. It's not bulky and prominent, it is thin. So reduce the wax at the CEJ. And also reduce the enamel wax at the CEJ. It must look smooth blending, not a rough border. Here I am trying to sharpen the apex of the root, and only the polishing part is remaining and the details are all done. So here I am done with the maxillary central incisor, and it looks stunning, as real as a natural teeth. With all the efforts, I am able to carve it out here and explain you. If you guys follow the steps and the technique and detailing, you will be able to achieve this. And now let's check with the anatomy of the various aspects. So it follows all the principles: the conical root, the trapezoid crown, the lingual fossa, cingulum, the margins, all are accurate. It looks stunning, and the incisal tip is in the midline here, and at the distal aspect the curvature is not deep, it's quite flat of the CEJ, and from the occlusal aspect it resembles, and the main bulk is seen in the labial. So guys, I hope you all do very well in the carving and excel in it, and thank you so much for watching my video.